Good morning, everybody. Coffee? Well, I think yes. Ha ha ha. Top of the morning to everybody here on, oh boy, March 7th. This the first show of March? It is yes. The first show of March. Man, wow. Good morning, Mark Sokolis. It's 12 degrees here in northern Vermont.
Oh, that's a step up. It was 7 when I got up.
Oh yeah, it's the temperature has risen. Hey, like by Thursday, it's going to be like 50 degrees. Woo. I think it is. For those of you that aren't watching in Vermont, just to give you an idea of what northern Vermont is like for temperatures. It's 12 right now, 12 degrees. Tomorrow's going to be almost 30, it'll be about 28. Tuesday's going to be almost 40 at about 37. Wednesday, 52 degrees. Thursday, 55. And then for Sunday, the next time we do Coffee with Todd, we're back down to 21 degrees. Isn't that cool? But that, folks, is how you get that wonderful Vermont maple syrup that we all love so much. Cold nights and warm days. Sounds like an Eagles song, doesn't it? Or is that one of these nights?
That's what I thought you were saying.
Gonna make some maple syrup. All right, let's get some coffee. That first sip of coffee is the best, and it's with you guys, so it's bester. On the show today, we are going to be visiting the great state of Oklahoma, virtually, of course, with DocFell and company. DocFell himself will be joining us. I think his company is not awake yet. I'll explain that all in a little bit, and then I'll tell you who I've got coming up next week as well. Good morning, Tom. Our neighbor Tom says, good morning. This week on Coffee with Tom, we'll be watching Coffee with Todd. I like that idea. Let's get the show started, shall we? So grab yourself a cup of coffee, and I'll be your Todd. Coffee with Todd starts right now. All right. Coffee with Todd is rolling for the Sunday morning. Morning, Christopher. Morning, Ronan. Very cool to have you all with us here this morning. Oh, man. I love Sunday mornings. And that, my friends, is something that I never used to say. Being a musician, up late Saturday nights, never really cared for Sunday mornings. Now, I love them. Ronan Danielle says she didn't start drinking coffee till she was in college, so You're good. Good morning, Bubba. How's it going? I'm so excited for the show this morning. We have our guest joining us from Oklahoma, Tahlequah, Oklahoma. We'll ask him how to pronounce it. DocFell and Co. is going to be joining us. He's an Americana country gospel folk singer songwriter. Going to chat with us and sing a couple songs. Next week on Coffee with Todd, we've got a local chap. Jacob Green is going to be joining us on Coffee with Todd. Jacob just has a new album coming out right now, essentially. I'm really bad with the dates, but I feel like it comes out this week. Or maybe it came out. I don't know. Anyway, he will be joining us next week on Coffee with Todd. Good morning, Jared. What creamer do you use? Today I'm using Hood, but usually I use, what's that stuff called? Lucerne? Lucerne?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Isn't the other one like Stonyfield or something?
And we use Stonyfield organic every once in a while when we're feeling rich.
But the best one is Chobani.
That's Danielle. Danielle likes the Chobani stuff because it's flavored. She gets like sweet cream.
But it doesn't have fake stuff in it.
You almost swore. She said it doesn't have fake stuff in it. Ow. I just hit my tooth. Hey, good morning, Rita.
Well, good thing I didn't swear on my grandmother.
Yeah, that's right. Your grandmother's watching. You can't swear now.
I'm just kidding.
We're on Twitch now. I don't know what that is, but we're on it. So if you're watching on Twitch, hi, welcome to Coffee with Todd. Every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. we come on, we sing some songs, we have some coffee, we tell some stories, and we talk with guests. So we're hip now. We're on the Twitch. I'll sing a song before we get our guest on. You can see the bright shining lights in my guitar. Woo! Let's play here some harmonica. Oh man. Get on there, Monica. You know, this harmonica holder that I have, is almost as old as me. I've had it since college. Wait, I didn't go to college.
High school?
I've had it since high school. I'm all messed up this morning, and it's starting to. It needs some work. No, Bubba, this isn't a new guitar. I just don't play it that often. This guitar's name is Rudy, as you can see. It's a 12-fret mahogany Taylor guitar. I'm fighting the elements with humidity right now, folks. This because of the heat running for 9 months straight, it can dry out the wood in these guitars and they can crack. So the guitar that I play right now is based on which one is humidified the best. And this one is humidified the best. This is a new song I righted. I made it all up right here in this brain of mine. I wrote this song to ease my troubled mind, 'cause ain't that what good folk singers do? And I don't expect you to hang on every word. I just hope that you will give a listen through. Folks look defeated as they slowly cross the street, heading to the office from their cars. You can see it in their posture and the bags below their eyes, longing to be anywhere but where they are. And the winds of change are blowing around. That old wind blew right through town. Yeah, the winds of change are blowing around. That old wind blew the shingles right off of my house. Well, every night about midnight I fix myself a snack, but there ain't many victuals lying round. Well, old Mother Hubbard, I got nothing in my cupboard but this dented can of lentils that I found. And the winds of change are blowing around. That old wind blew right through town. Yeah, the winds of change are blowing around. That old wind blew the shingles right off of my house. I gave up the bottle about 7 years ago. I left behind headaches and regret, but I'm still living dangerously with caffeine, sex, and cigarettes. Yeah, the winds of change are blowing around. That old wind blew right through town. Yeah, the winds of change are blowing around. That old wind blew the shingles right off of my house. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. Morning, William. Morning, Trisha. How y'all doing? That's my favorite ending ever. All right. All right, all right, all right. Let's get our guest to dial in here. And thank you so much for joining us here on Coffee with Todd. It means the world to me that you join us every Sunday morning for a little coffee and a little Todd. We're on a new platform today. We're on Twitch. That means we're broadcasting live now on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Twitter, Twitch. So to 4 locations. If you're watching on one of those locations, I don't know where you're watching unless you leave a comment. So say hi so I can thank you for tuning in. If you're new to Coffee with Todd, thank you so much for watching every Sunday morning. We sing songs, talk to guests, and drink coffee. And if you're watching on Twitch, cool. I don't know what Twitch is, but I'm so glad that I'm on it. It's where all the kids are these days. Or something like that. I don't know. Morning, John. Morning, Lindy. Yeah, so we're adding a little bit every week. You'll notice The picture's going to start to get a little bit clearer. The music's going to start to sound a little better. We're making some changes. We're upgrading here at Coffee with Todd. And if you'd like to help out, all this upgrading and streaming to different platforms is not free for me. It's free for you to watch, of course. But if you'd like to kick in a couple extra bucks. Oh, God, did I just freeze? Oh, there we go. Hey, I froze. Look at me talking about how we're making everything better, and then it freezes. Anyway, that's Comcast's fault. There's a PayPal link right here. If you want to kick in an extra few bucks, there's Venmo as well. It helps me out big time. It helps me out. Every little bit helps. Keep buying stuff for Coffee with Todd. If you would like one of these coffee mugs, you can get one. We have official Coffee with Todd coffee mugs. And in fact, oh, dripping. Oh, damn it. Well, just drip already. Well, whatever.
It's fine.
I'll have to wipe that up later. In fact, we're going to do a cool little giveaway today on Coffee with Todd. So, if you'd like one of these coffee mugs, of course you can buy one and we'll send it right out to you. But if you'd like to win one, this is what we're going to do today. If you share this video, I will pick out of a hat next week. What I'll do is everybody that shares this video, I'll write their names down and I'll put their names in a hat and we'll pick it next week. And if I pick your name as a thank you for sharing the video, I'll send you one of these cups for free in the mail. Because every little bit helps me get the audience out there. So if you don't donate monetarily, that's completely fine. Tell a friend to watch every Sunday morning. Say, I know this weird guy that goes on at 9 o'clock in the morning and sings songs before his voice is woken up, and you should watch it too. Thanks, Bubba. Upgrade the hair color. Oh, man. It isn't upgraded. Oh, you can't see the blue anymore. I think I did the streak of teal, but yeah. Thanks, John. Yeah, the image is better today. It's looking better. The problem with is every time I make the camera upgrades and I look better, you can see all the flaws and imperfections in my face. All right, let's get our guest on. That's enough yammering and a yapping, but thank you all so much for your support. I see some donations coming in, so thank you. It means a lot to me. Let's get some coffee. Let's get our guest online. You guys are going to love this guy. He's from the state of Oklahoma, so he's up a little bit early this morning. It's 18 past 8 there. Which isn't the biggest time difference that we've had, but I think the weather's a whole lot warmer. So let's check in with him and see how he's doing. DocFell from DocFell & Co. Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for coming on Coffee with Todd.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Todd.
Yeah. So how's it going out in Oklahoma?
Yeah, we're in Tahlequah, Oklahoma. Not too bad. You know, we survived that big epic ice storm they had that hit us in Texas, and this week we got up in the 70s, so it's quite a turnaround.
Yeah, because you're pretty close to Texas. You're kind of like smack dab. No, you're not really in the middle of Oklahoma. You're kind of.
We're in the upper part, but I mean, I could get to Dallas in about 3 hours, so
okay.
It's not too far. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not on the panhandle as a lot of people describe it.
Yeah, the panhandle's over on the kind of close to New Mexico, and then if you go down southern Oklahoma, that's right on the border. So.
Cool. So where are you in relation to like I don't know if I'm going to say this right, but Okemah, where Woody Guthrie comes from?
Yeah, I'm about 2 hours from Okemah. Okay. It's closer to Oklahoma City. I'm more on the Tulsa side of the state, so.
Nice. Yeah,
but yeah, I've been to Okemah several times. I've played the Woody Guthrie Festival 1 year, or 2 years actually, And then I think last year they did a virtual fest. So we're kind of crossing our fingers it'll be back to having a real live festival this year. So
I hope so, man. I've always wanted to go out for that because that seems like a really cool festival.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good one. And it's a good variety of artists, a lot of folk artists, and it's
Yeah.
really just a fun time. So
That's fantastic. And you pronounce it's not Taliqua. It's how did you say it where you are?
Tahlequah,
Tahlequah. Ah,
but most people do say Taliqua.
I figured, right?
And you got Okima right as well, so you're doing all right.
I was gonna ask you this, before we get to music or whatever. I don't normally like talk politics or anything on this show. 'Cause
Yeah.
I just figure that's boring, and there's plenty of it on TV. But just looking at your social media and stuff, it looks like you might be a little more open than we are in New England as far as all the COVID stuff goes.
You mean open as far as like bars open and things like that?
Yeah, yeah.
Distancing. Yeah, for whatever reason, Oklahoma did not really shut down.
Oh,
Texas did. They shut the bars down. A lot of the states did, but Oklahoma, we have a governor who is very much wants to not have anything shut down. So
right.
we've been working from the standpoint of that. I I'm a physician, so actually I wear masks, and I think there's a good responsibility to distancing and using masks. But overall, I'd say, yeah, we live in an area where it's not very well adhered to.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
did you lose like a lot of shows, or were you able to kind of keep on keeping on?
Well, I mean, that may be irresponsible on my part, but actually, I was busier last year than I was ever in the past as far as having gigs and playing music.
Wow.
Now, we did a lot in the summertime. We do a lot of gigs that are outside for like the lake and the river folks.
Yeah.
And so a lot of outdoor stuff. But and we actually have a gig tonight here in town in a place called Dwayne's. So
Yeah.
we try as much as we can to socially distance at those, but really we've had gigs out the wazoo, and I know all my counterparts down in Texas have been struggling to find anything to play. I mean, they're all going to online because there's no bars open. But I think the Governor Abbott just opened all of the bars this week. He lifted all the bans or something in Texas, so
Yeah,
apparently they're back.
I think
They're
you're
back
right.
online. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think the numbers are going down. So maybe, I don't want to see it flare back up and create problems, but
Sure.
supposedly we have enough vaccine to get everybody immunized in America by the end of May. So, I mean, it's possible we could get ahead of this thing and
Yeah.
wipe it out. So,
Well, that's kind of so you're by day you're a practitioner, a doctor. I don't
yeah,
know.
I
I'm
do
not
like
smart
internal
enough to
medicine.
know the difference.
Yeah. They're kind of synonymous. Of course, you say doctor and people are like, well, are you a doctor of what? Because there's a lot of different doctors, but I'm a human doctor. I work I'm an internal medicine doctor.
Okay. So, oh,
Oh, hold on. I'll decline that. Okay.
he's
There you
back.
go.
And
Yeah.
you're a magician too. So you're not like do you do like general practice? Like if I was gonna come in and see you once a year for my annual checkup, is that kind of like
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. Just general checkup, stuff like that.
So you have a unique perspective on the whole COVID thing because you see it from a different line of perspective than most of us do.
Yeah, I've been basically on the front lines. I feel like since the get go, and I've never had any. Everybody else got to leave and time off, and I've been working the entire time. And I've had a lot of patients who've not survived it. I've seen both sides of it. So
Yeah, I was gonna
I
ask
know
like how are the numbers in your area?
they've been higher. Right now they're going down. I think generally speaking they're kind of declining all over the United States and probably worldwide, mostly declining. So we're pretty happy with what we're seeing right now.
That's amazing. And you're still man, I haven't played a live show. My base is New England. So
Yeah.
New England is shut down,
Yeah.
for the most part. Like I've been online. I started the show, but I'm really
Yeah.
grateful for that because I get to meet cool people like you
Well, I do have a lot of friends who play in other states, and they're shut down too. And every time I play a gig, they're like, "How was it, man? give me, they're like crack addicts. Like, tell me all about it. I'm like, all right, well, it was pretty cool, man. Yeah, we're playing a show tonight at Dwayne's. It's a local watering hole here in Tahlequah, but I mean, we usually have a pretty good crowd there. So, I feel pretty lucky in the fact that we were able to continue playing, and even though it may be irresponsible, I was a musician. I'm pretty happy about it.
Yeah. It's who knows, man.
Yeah.
I can imagine though. What I was talking with another artist, and I was like, man, I have this feeling like when we go back to playing live, like it's gonna feel weird, like, whoa, people,
Yeah.
That's cool. That, I mean, you must have seen lower numbers of people coming out and stuff like that, or not really?
Well, I mean, some venues we played, like the Mercury and certain ones they will definitely adhere to a limited capacity.
Yeah.
Most of them are supposed to be at somewhat 50% capacity or lower,
Yeah.
but I've also played venues where managements, after people get there, they're like shooing them on in. We went to a show last Saturday. Mike and the Moon Pies played it, and then my buddy's band RC and the Ambers played it, and it's supposed to be 50% capacity, but then going 100, and they added 60 tickets, so it ended up being just packed. And so we stayed for a little bit, and I was like, I kind of don't feel good about this. So we went out and stood outside and listened to music, and then but generally speaking, reduced crowds, but it just depends. I mean, like tonight, I'm not sure if it probably will be a packed house, but as best people do, they kind of spread out and maintain wearing their masks when they're not drinking and so forth.
Yeah, it's a tough thing. Like, I can only imagine it's tough for the musicians, but as a venue owner, that's got to be real hard because, at 50% capacity, you're not bringing in a lot of income.
Yeah.
And,
it's been very hard. I know a lot of the venues here struggled, and I'm sure that, I mean, there's been ones in Texas that are pretty big venues I know that have shut down. They just said, we're not coming back. Because, I mean, they couldn't come back from the financial hardship of taking a year off, essentially. And then when they were open, it was very limited capacity. So you're losing your revenue, from money and, I mean, from beer sales, liquor sales, and also your, all the other income you have. And also artists who've had a year off from basically not being able to tour and make money, and they're financially ruined or had to go get real jobs, or not necessarily real jobs, but other jobs, and say, we can't really sustain ourselves doing, what we normally do. So
yeah,
it's hard. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I can't wait till this is all retrospective and we're looking back at it. Cause
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. They're talking about, Boston started talking about going to 50% capacity. So
yeah,
we'll see how many were able to hang on through it all, but yeah.
Are they are they just shut down now and then they're going to go to 50%?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Outside stuff, but then it's New England. So once fall comes, outside is, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah. So like, what's the temp? You said it's 70, or it was 70 where you are?
Yesterday was 70 and sunny. Today, a little bit of 60 and overcast. So, I mean, this is our typical spring. We'll get a cold snap or two down in the 30s, but typically it starts to warm up a little bit in the 50s and 60s this time of year. And we're pretty fortunate. Then it'll be 103 by summertime. So
I was just going to ask, like, what's summertime like?
We're used to it here. Like when the snowstorm hit, it got down to maybe -6 or 7 here, and a couple of days it got to a high of 5. But I mean, like, we're kind of prepared for that in Oklahoma. Yeah. And then Texas got that, and they had you heard about their electric grid shutting down, and like, their state was shut down essentially because they weren't prepared for that kind of weather. They hadn't seen that in 20 years or longer. So yeah, it's maybe 50. I don't know. It was nuts. Yeah.
I got friends outside of Austin, and like, we haven't seen temperatures here like even reach 30 in a while. So yeah. But we're fully equipped for that. I mean, half the year is like that up here. So you realize the extremes, and you're like,
yeah, for sure.
Power there without heat.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Come on, spring.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, let's play some music, and then we'll come back and chat after.
Okay, sounds good, man.
about some stuff. I'm gonna mute myself,
Okay.
and I'll have you do a couple songs, and we'll come back.
Okay. Sounds good. This is a track that I did on our. We have four albums, and this was a track off of our third album. It was called Heaven, Hell, or Oklahoma, and I'd actually written a couple songs at funerals, which is kind of macabre. But this is one I wrote in a big cabin, a little town in Oklahoma. It was my uncle's funeral, and he's an old cowboy, and we're sitting in the rain between a railroad track and a highway watching this funeral, and a bunch of cowboys there paying their respects. And this first line popped in my head: "You could fill a graveyard with the lives of men who drew their pistol and thought they could win." So on the way home that day, I wrote this song, and it ended up being the Ballad of White Earp. So I'm gonna play it for you guys tonight. You can feel a graveyard with the lives of men. Drew their pistols and thought they could win. They came up just a little too slow. Now they're all 6 feet below. I wear a 10-star, now hold the law. With a trigger finger and a lightning fast draw, I keep a 6-shooter by my side. White horses saddled and ready to ride. Most folks call me a peacemaker. There ain't no peace for a life taker. And the last thing they see before they hit the ground is the smoke from my barrel rolling down, 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 rolling down, down, down. You won't get no mercy, you won't get no pity. The law is the law here in Dodge City. Put them in a pine box, bury their shame. The grave digger knows them all by name. Most folks call me a peacemaker. There ain't no peace for a life taker. And the last thing they see before they hit the ground is the smoke from my barrel rolling down, 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 rolling down, down, down. There was peace across this land, but I still need this pistol in my hand. Without the devil, how lost there won't be. Even good guys need an enemy. Most folks call me a peacemaker. There ain't no peace for a life taker. is the smoke from my barrel rolling down, 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 rolling down, down, down. And the last thing they see before they hit the ground is the smoke from my barrel rolling down, 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 rolling down, down, down. All right. I'm just waking up here, so gotta get the vocal cords loosened up a little. Thanks, Todd, once again.
Absolutely.
Good morning.
Man. I love it.
Let me do one more real quick, or what do you think?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right. So we did Wise or Not. We had an album we were going to release this year, and we decided to go and push it out in the middle of the pandemic. So in July, we released our 4th album called Revelations. And the first track we released is a song called Fragile. And it charted in the Texas charts. Forrest did really well. But I'd written it long before the pandemic, but it ended up being kind of a pandemic inspired. We're going to get through this type song that I'd written in advance. I guess I had a premonition maybe about what was going to happen. So I take some credit for that, I guess. But anyway, this one's called Fragile. And one funny thing about it is one of my critics is my wife, Kira. I had played it for her for the first time. And she said, when she first played it, she said, I like it, but the first verse is just awful. Like it's so generic. I don't like it at all. So I was like, you're probably right. So I went back and rewrote it. And then I came out with a much better verse. And anyway, it turned out much better. Appreciation to Miss Kira for doing that. So. There ain't nobody perfect, at least as far as I can see. Lordy knows I've been looking from up my sycamore tree. Lilies of the valley to the hills of Calvary. Just leaves on crosses, waiting to be free. There's an old man in the pulpit, thinks he speaks the truth. He's only pouring sugar on the devil's old sweet tooth. Life is just a silver dollar in the fountain of our lost youth. Salt and pepper shaker, corner diner booth. We're all fragile, we're all faded, we're all tattered, we're all torn. We're all bruised and we're all battered, all wrinkled, we're all worn. Rough around the edges, we're solid to the core. We're all in this fight together, no matter who we're fighting for. We're all in this fight together, no matter what we're fighting for. Ain't no bread on the table and there's fools at the door. Some days you're the sickness, other days you're the cure. I used to have the answers, but now I just ain't sure. If anything means anything to anyone anymore. We're all fragile, we're all faded, we're all tattered, we're all torn. We're all bruised and we're all battered, all wrinkled, we're all rough around the edges, we're solid to the core. We're all in this fight together, no matter who we're fighting for. We're all in this fight together, no matter what we're fighting for. Standing at a precipice, toes over the line, clinging on to hope like grapes on the vine. Part of my lips is that water turn wine. You can't stop the bleeding, but you can't stop the hands of time. You can't stop the bleeding, but you can't stop the hands of time. We're all fragile, we're all faded, we're all tattered, we're all torn. We're all bruised and we're all battered, all wrinkled, we're all worn. Rough around the edges, we're solid to the core. We're all in this fight together, no matter who we're fighting for. We're all in this fight together, no matter what we're fighting for. We're all in this fight together, no matter who we're fighting for. We're all in this fight together, no matter what we're fighting for. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Something like that anyway.
I love it. We're all in this fight together, no matter what we're fighting for. That's fantastic.
Thanks, man. I think that was something we could all unite on, or at least we don't always feel that way politically or socially, but I think that if we had more of a mindset of doing that, doing it all together, I think we'd get a lot further in life.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think we're a lot more alike than we think we are, you know, but
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
so let's you mentioned songwriting a little bit. So let's talk about the songwriting process, because that's something that I always find fascinating. And you mentioned that your wife helped you out, or is she your biggest critic or your biggest fan?
Usually my biggest critic. If she gives me an approval, she likes the song or says it's good, I'm usually doing backflips, because normally it's an eye roll and like so
it's so important. It's so important to have somebody like that, though, and not just somebody that tells you that everything's great, you know?
Yeah. I've got a few friends. I think, probably when you're writing, you have a few people you can rely on and say, hey, can you look this over for me, lyrics or whatever, or play it for them and say, hey, what do you think? And then give you some constructive criticism rather than, I do have plenty of people who just say, man, that's great. That's awesome. But that's not always what you want to hear. I could play anything and they'd be like, that's so cool. But, it's different. Probably that's usually people who maybe don't know how to write music. And so they're impressed by everything you do. But someone who has experience, my wife's she doesn't write music, but she's a writer, so she's a poet, so she understands some of that. So, but I think having someone to critique your work is important, and being vulnerable like that and saying, all right, I don't know if it is good or not, but can you give me some advice? I think that's important too. So.
Absolutely, get that extra perspective.
Yeah.
Do you do co-writing or anything, or is it pretty much?
I have on occasion. I probably do 90% of my stuff independent. Like my problem is I'm constantly writing. Like I don't ever just sit down and just say, hey, I'm going to write a song. Like I know plenty of musician friends, they have certain spots and routines they do to write. Yeah. And I don't have time to have a routine or a spot. So I'm always just like all day long. If an idea pops in my head, I'll write it down and then maybe start working on that. Or if I hear a hook, maybe for a song, they'll think of that and I'll start writing it. So it's just a constant process with me where I'm continually writing, and I don't really have the luxury of sitting down and co-writing with anybody. Although I have, my preference with that typically is I'll tell them, hey, if you want to co-write, I'll send you something and you send me something and let's ping pong it back and forth, Messenger or whatever, and work out lyrics or work out melody. But usually it's not just sitting down one-on-one. So, but normally it's just me writing it on my own and then going back and trying to figure out what I've written in the last week that, is worth hanging on to and what's just going to go on the back burner. So.
Yeah. Well, that was actually one of the questions I was going to ask you, because you're a doctor. So, and then you're a musician by night. So you must just be always going
it's a lot. That's true. Yeah. I know. Kara had somebody in the radio station. She's a radio DJ too. So she had somebody there the other day and they're like, how does a doctor do all that? He's like always doing something and constantly going. I'd always tell people is I just don't stop. If I ever stop, I would just be like done. So I just constantly keep in motion. So every now and then, like once a week for like 2 minutes, I'll be bored for like 2 minutes and I'll think, man, that's what that feels like. It's pretty nice, but it only lasts for like an interval of a few seconds to maybe a minute. And then it's like back to doing something that I have to get done. So, I think it's just how I'm geared. It's definitely, there aren't any breaks in my life. So like I said, if I'm driving in the car, maybe that's a good opportunity for me to, pull out my voice recorder and try to record a few lyrics or work on a song I've been working on. And
Yeah.
I'm kind of a solid. I prefer to probably write in solitude. That's another reason I write alone. Is I think when you're writing, you can feel very exposed and vulnerable. And I don't mind being judged for my work when I'm done with it, but until it's done, I don't really want someone to see it or know about it, necessarily. So
Yeah.
that's kind of my personal preference. So
Interesting. Have
yeah.
Have you ever like accidentally handed somebody song lyrics instead of a prescription or?
No, but they do. Sorry about that.
He's back.
Somebody keeps trying to call. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm sure
that's what it is. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
That's all right.
But no, I do have them all the time ask me if I will sing them a song. When patients of mine know that it gets confusing. Some people don't really know I'm a doctor, and some people don't really know I'm not just a musician. So it goes back and forth. Sometimes they'll think I'm just a musician, and they'll be like, oh, they'll be surprised I'm a doctor. And then my real patients will find out I'm a musician too, and they're like, can you play us a song in the office? You should have brought your guitar. I'm like, well, yeah, I could have, but
yeah.
So
that's an interesting perspective though, because music has such healing qualities that
yeah,
I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's I always say that I heal the bodies by day and the soul by night. So that's kind of I don't know if I made that phrase up, but I do like it. Like I think it really is true because I mean, I can see the difference in people in the office, and I've made some adjustments to their health, and they're doing so much better. But then I also see the stuff where they come in and they have had a stressful week, and by the end of the night they're laughing and having a great time, and their mind's at ease. And that's the beautiful thing about music. It can transport you away from all your trouble and care, and it's not permanently doing that, but transiently enough that you can kind of get a little reset.
Yeah.
So, mentally, emotionally, whatever.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Like if you can take people's minds off of their everyday lives for 45 minutes or whatever your set is, then you did your job,
You know what? You gave me a good idea though. I think from now on, if I'm thinking about it, I may go write lyrics down and hand them to the patient and be like, listen, this isn't a prescription, but I think this pertains to you. To go read this and really think about what it means.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Do you ever sing to patients, like if they have to stay in the hospital for an extended time or whatever?
I've gone to some extended care facilities and done some stuff there, some different nursing home facilities and stuff like that, where they'll have group sessions where they'll have musicians come and sing to them. So that's kind of the main area where I'd probably see people like that.
That's fantastic. So what got you into music? You grew up in Oklahoma? Are you a native?
Yeah, I grew up in Oklahoma. I grew up, my parents were Southern Baptists, so I grew up singing in the church and gospel. I think some influences of my song are gospel-y. I got that hymnal kind of beaten to my brain. But I loved singing and I loved music as a child and a teenager, but I never really was in choir or really pursued it much. I didn't really start playing. I did dabble with piano. I could play piano all right. And then I didn't get a guitar until I was in college. And then I started singing a little bit on my own quietly, but I was super nervous and private with it. So it was actually not till almost my 30s that I kind of was, a friend of mine said, hey, you can really sing. And they heard me and they were like, you got to start performing. And I started trying to perform publicly. And so it's been very late blooming for me where I started doing that. And I'd written a few songs in probably the 30s. I ended up starting a cover band and learning cover songs, and kind of that's a gateway to beginning what I'm doing. But I'd written a few songs, and then when I moved to Tahlequah about 10 years ago, maybe a little longer than that, I'd written a few songs, and my Kira goes, you should write more songs. Those are pretty good. So I went to an open mic one night and played some of my originals, and the guy said, those are really good. He goes, come back in a month and do an hour's worth of originals. And I said, all right, I'll do that. But I only had 2 songs. So I was like, crap. So I started just writing everything I could think of. I mean, just any song idea I had, I wrote a song about it, So I showed up and played this thing, and most of the songs I would never play again if my life depended on it. They're probably awful, but it did spark that in my brain where I'm like, oh, you can write and you need to continue writing. So now I just continually write all the time. And, if it's, like, I don't know if you're a writer as well, but when you write, you may not necessarily use it. It may not be anything, but it's just your stepping stone to whatever's next until you find something you really can sink your teeth into. So,
yeah, I've been trying to do this thing I don't know if you do this or not. It sounds maybe like it, but just like making myself do some sort of free writing every day.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be a song, doesn't have to be good, doesn't have to be good grammar, just to keep that muscle going, you know?
Yeah. I think I do that. I mean, I constantly want to keep that. I don't necessarily force myself to do it every day, but anytime I do have a thought, what I found was if you had a thought for an idea or a song, you thought, all right, I'll work on it in a minute. Usually when the minute comes up, you've forgotten what that idea was and you've kind of moved on to something else. So for me,
Yeah.
I just know that whenever that strikes, even if it's not anything important, I'll just sit down and make a little note or make a really strong mental note and then continue to work on it through the day. And then either, like I said, most of the time it becomes nothing. I was going through my phone the other day. I'm working on a new project with a friend, and um, he said, we did a couple tracks, and he said, why don't you go back through your old stuff and find some stuff that you want to work on? Maybe we can find some melodies for it. And so I started going through my phone, and I was like, probably like 30, 40 songs deep. And I was like, I don't even halfway remember half of these things I wrote. I was like reading them. I was like, I got a lot of stuff in here. This is impressive, actually. So
Yeah.
but it's just a continual flow. It is important to keep that muscle flexed and to I think be open to just whenever that moment of inspiration strikes.
Yeah.
I'd hate to miss it anyway, I guess.
Yeah. Did you write it all like in high school or when you were younger, or was it just something that
I did. I mean, a little. I mean, just more. And I did write. I did like poetry, and I did like
yeah.
reading poetry. So that kind of inspired me. And I find now that like I don't get into that as much, but I do read a lot of biographies and read quite a bit, which I think is a very helpful tool for writing as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. The medical books probably aren't quite the same for
Yeah, I mean, I don't find a lot of inspiration in those things. I could write songs about gout, I guess, but I don't know if I'd have an audience for it.
what
Maybe at a
rhymes
medical conference.
what rhymes with penicillin?
Yeah.
Evil villain. Ah.
Evil villain. Perfect. But I still don't know what rhymes with Bronco.
Bronco. Yeah, I don't know. You have to figure it out though, because Ford's bringing the Bronco back.
Yeah, I know. You're probably going to have a song that rhymes with Bronco.
um, you mentioned the Southern Baptist influence, which is kind of interesting because when I listened to your music last week for the first time, I heard a little bit of the gospel. I actually, I don't know if you're familiar with Paul Thorne at all.
Yeah.
I had a little. I was like, there's a little bit of Paul Thorne vibe in there, but it's not really Paul Thorne vibe. It's that gospel vibe.
Yeah, I've gotten that comparison before. That's actually one people are like, you kind of have that Paul Thorne thing going on. I was like, well, I guess that's a good thing. I mean, he's got a great voice and I like his music. So I think that's a big compliment.
That's a great thing to have on. I thought it was cool because I was reading your bio, and you've got your influences like country, hillbilly, bluegrass, gospel, rock, funk, and grunge.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
Yeah.
It's a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Well, people have a hard time. I don't, it's not necessarily I don't think it's a stretch because I mean, what I always say is we take every song in the studio or whatever, we take it the direction it wants to go, not necessarily trying to fit into one particular mold. And I think if you're trying to be really uber successful, you have to kind of focus on one thing and really do it well. But in our mindset, we just kind of go wherever it goes. And there's a general sound to our music that maybe leans toward country or Americana or something. But I think in general, if it wants to go in a gospel way, great. If it wants to go in a more funky way or rock way, whatever. I mean, we just kind of embrace it all and blend it all up into one big hodgepodge.
Yeah. Well, and the industry's different now. Like,
yeah,
it's kind of back to singles driven stuff again versus full albums with streaming and all that. So it almost kind of gives you the leeway to release different genres and sounds.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, you've got less. I'm an album guy. Like, if I get an option of doing an album, that's what I want to do. Because me personally, I think of all the stuff I did in context of the album it came from in that particular time frame. And when I think of other artists, I think of a similar thing. It's the Beatles, Abbey Road, or whatever. I mean, certain albums have a certain connotation to you.
Yeah.
And it just is it's less cost effective now because people only have attention spans to pay, for an EP or a single. And so I know a lot of my friends are making those things because it's so much cheaper, and they can do 5 singles a year for way cheaper than they can put an album out that would take them longer than that to produce. So I mean, I understand that, but also I don't know. I'm just an old school album guy, so that's what I keep doing, making albums.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. I'm really torn on that too, because there's nothing like a really well put together album from start to finish that's just a cohesive piece of work that just goes well together.
Well, I always tell my friends, if they can afford to do an album. That's my opinion. If you can't, then do an EP or do a single, and I've done some singles in between albums. We got one new single that's coming out next month or two, just because I was in between albums and kind of wanting to do something. So I had a little side project going on. But I mean, for me, that's just kind of a singles or a stopping point in between your bigger projects.
Yeah.
But that's just how I get to work. So everybody's got to do their own thing, man.
Yeah, and it's constantly evolving. So life, who knows? It's just always different.
Yeah. Huh.
What's kind of interesting? So the name of your group is DocFell and Company.
Yeah.
And the basis behind that is like you don't really have a set band that like you kind of have a rotating cast of musicians.
I have I probably, if I was to count it up, probably 20 to 30 people have been in the band at some point. And right now I do have a pretty solid cast right now. We've been together about a year, pretty much the same 5 guys playing. We actually added a trumpet player recently. So I got a really solid context now, but the idea originally was, that I didn't really know. When I started this whole project, I had 1 bass player and that was it. And since then I've had 5 or 6 bass players, but the idea is that it could change. But like I said, right now I'm pretty fortunate to have a really solid cast of guys and a really solid sounding band. So, but we're open to, if people show up and they're musicians and they want to play, I tell them to get up there and play, and they can always join the band anytime they want. So it's kind of a cool concept.
So how big of a band do you currently have, like members wise?
There's 5 of us. If you count the trumpet player, 6. So
nice. Oh man, horns. That's so cool. Nothing like a real trumpet or a real sax or. Yeah.
Well, he played his first gig with us about a month ago, and he's coming back tonight to play. So we're excited about that. Yeah. We have my other guy that sings vocals and does songs, Jordan Cox. He plays accordion, and then he plays lead and harmonica. And then I've got Johnny Barker on bass guitar, and he does some vocals. And then Gavin Haddix on drums. And then Matt McCrory on lead guitar. So that's pretty much the lineup for me right now.
That's great, man. And you do mostly like longer gigs, or are they shorter sets, or?
Like tonight will be probably 2 to 3 hours. I mean, now that's dividing up between 2 singers. I mean, 2 lead singers and kind of splitting music. But I'd say most of our sets are at least 2 hours or longer. Nice. When I do solo stuff, it's usually 2 hours as well. So.
That's cool.
I don't want to play any more than that. 3's about my limit.
Yeah. You're not like Bruce Springsteen going for like 4 hours. And
no, I mean, I've had people offer me to do that, and I was like, nah, I'm not really interested in that. That sounds like a marathon.
It's hard, man.
I mean, if you got a lot of people wanting to solo out for 30 minutes, great, we can do that. But I don't want to be singing that long.
Yeah, right. I mean, because I'm assuming with your job, you can't just go out for a month and hit the road
right.
often. So do you play mostly in Oklahoma, Texas area, or?
Yeah, we're pretty limited regionally. We'll take a weekend off, sometimes go down to Texas and do 2 or 3 night, but usually we're limited to weekends. So we'll play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, sometimes Sunday, but most of it's most of our stuff's between Tahlequah, Tulsa, and Oklahoma City. So we're staying in this little triangle in Oklahoma, and then we shoot out every now and then. We'll go take a longer tour. But you're right, we're not a touring band out doing 7 or 8 gigs a week. So I got some friends. I got a friend that is. I mean, my buddy Sam Cox, his band, they're playing all over the place. I mean, he'll play 5 or 6 gigs a week. But like I said, the bars are open in Texas now and in Oklahoma, so he's able to get in those venues, and he can he could do that. But that's all he does full time. So he's just driving and doing that all the time. So
That's great. I mean, yeah, Texas has its own like you can be an artist in Texas and have a whole career in Texas and nobody in the rest of the United States even knows who you are.
yeah, plenty of them do, and they have some very successful careers. And I know we recorded
Yeah.
one album down in Yellow Dog, Wimberley, Texas, and the studio guy there, Dave Percival, he's like, man, I don't know why anybody would leave Texas. Like seriously, like you can tour every night of the week and play different bars, you know, and go all over the state. And their tax laws were set up where it was better, and you know, and not have to leave. He said it just makes sense. But you know, they, of course, some of them get the bug where they want to go touring and see the rest of the world, you know. But I mean, honestly, yeah, it's definitely a lot of places to play if you're the right style of music there. So
Yeah. And what's the music scene in Oklahoma like, or specifically your area?
I live in a really cool town here in Tahlequah. We have a college, Northeastern State University, and then it's a little more of a liberal town, very open to music. We have about, for the size of town, which is about 20,000, we have 4 to 5 live music venues tonight. I think 3 or 4 of them have music. When the summertime be even more, we have a Illinois River runs through here, so we have floating places. So we'll have 3 or 4 venues that have music out there, and then we have a lake out here, Tin Killer, and they'll have 3 or 4 venues out there that are open. So you come in this area, especially in the summertime, you could have your choice of about 10 to 12 different artists to listen to. For a small town, that's pretty good.
That's amazing. Is it a lot?
We also have we're the hometown to a bigger band. Well, they're broken up now, but the Turnpike Troubadours. So they're from Tahlequah. Yeah.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know they were broken up,
Yeah.
and I didn't know they were from that area.
Well, they're on a hiatus, I guess is what they're saying. So.
Okay. So there's hope that they might get back together.
Yeah, there's hope.
That's amazing. They man, they've been around for a good chunk of time, I believe.
Yeah. They've done very well. So.
Do you ever open for them or anything like that, or?
One of the guys, RC, he played bass for them, but he has a band called RC and Ambers, and we play a lot of shows together here in town.
Yeah.
And then the guy I was recording this week is Hank Early. He's the steel guitar player for Turnpike, so he's got a little studio called what is it called? Well, Pine Curtain Studios. So anyway, he just produced RC's new album, and he's working on one for me. So
Cool.
we've got some good connections there.
So when you record your albums, you're a studio guy. You're not a record at home yourself kind of guy, or?
I prefer a studio. I've tried recording at home, and I'm just not very good at it. So
Yeah.
I've been lucky to have some people with nice studios who cut me some pretty good deals. And so I'd rather. Hank's one of those guys. I was able to get into him, and I just started a process with him. But he's a master musician. Like he's a guy you would really want involved. Like his quality is impeccable, and he's a mad scientist. I would trust him to do anything. So that's my thing. I always tell people, if you're going to record some music, I said, if you're going to use someone, I said, find a really good sound engineer with good equipment. That's your most important thing. Second is to have some decent songs, but the most important thing is the sound guy and the good sound equipment, in my opinion.
Yeah,
they
that makes sense.
really good. They can make a bad song sound pretty good, But if you have the other opposite, if you have a really good song and some bad sound guy and all that stuff, he's going to make it sound like trash, and you're not going to be happy with it. So,
yeah, there's an art to it, man. Home recording is a blessing and a curse, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I always figure I record a lot of my tracks, but I don't mix them.
Yeah.
And I kind of go with like, I probably could change the oil in my car if I wanted to, but I'd rather pay somebody that really knows what.
Right. Yeah.
It's just going to be done better.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
Well, let's do another song, but before that, I always have to geek out and ask what kind of guitar you're playing, because it looks like a classical guitar.
It is. It's called a Samick. This is not my normal guitar I play. I just have it on my piano, and it's like one I just like to write on and play with. So
yeah,
I was gonna get my other guitars out, but I just figured today I just pluck around on it. So it's actually one of the first guitars I ever had. I had put it up and not had it out for about 4 or 5 years, and I got it out about a year and a half ago and started messing with it. Now I'm like just like playing it. But it's a nylon string classic guitar, even though I'm just banging on it like a regular guitar. That's what it is.
Hey, that's what Willie did, man. Or
Yeah,
does.
that's my
Willie does.
inspiration right there. Yeah, it's not Trigger yet, but I wish it
Yeah,
was.
where are all the holes?
Yeah, I know. I got to work on that.
Are you an acoustic guitar guy, or do you go back and forth between acoustic and electric?
Yeah, I typically I play a Gibson Country and Western. It's a '63, and I typically just play acoustic. Although when I do play electric, people are like, you should do that more. But I'm like, I don't know, I just don't feel comfortable with a big old guitar in my hand.
Yeah.
So
There's something about the feeling of the guitar vibrating on you versus vibrating from an amplifier over
behind you, yeah.
Yeah.
We have a couple leads in the band already, so I'm like, we don't need that. Acoustic along with those guys is all we need. So
Yeah. Yeah, man. Well, let's do another song before we wrap up.
all right, buddy. This is a track I wrote called Prairie Wind. I wrote it for Miss Kira, and I put it on the last album. And I actually got Amber Watson to sing harmonies with me. And I wish she was here right now because it sounds so good when it's harmonized. But I'll do it myself today. It's a love ballad for you. Hope you guys like it. Like a strong prairie wind, she's a real left turner. Like a July grass fire, she's a real bomb burning. She don't need a man, she needs a lion timer. Got you seeing stars, nobody can blame you. You're putting that car 1,000 miles before the hills. You can see the rocket lights, but you can't change your course. She sparkles like the ocean, she's wide as the Wild West. There's a heart of gold hidden in her chest. Storm clouds in her eyes, yet she's soft as April rain. Her smile is electrifying, reflection of her pain. She'll set your world on fire, you gladly watch it burn. She's a hard lesson you pray to one day learn. She's a pack of bottle rockets looking for a light. You can't take her down, she puts up hell of a fight. Full of piss and vinegar, it's sweeter than molasses. The world is rose-colored through radiator glasses. She's not just the air you breathe, she's the earth on which you stand. Love her hard as a diamond, she makes you a man. Not just the air you breathe, to the earth on which you stand. You love her hard as a diamond, she makes you a man.
Yeah, man.
It's called Prairie Wind.
I love it.
All right.
Man, I like the voice. I like that grit that you got in your voice. Sounds great.
I heard someone, you always get these critics of whatever, but they're like, somebody one time on one song, they're like, I like your song, but your voice is a little too earnest for me. I thought earnest was a good thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
A little too much grit and a little too much earnestness in your voice. I was like, I feel like those are compliments. It's kind of I feel good about that rejection, actually.
Yeah, right. I like your music, but you sound too rehearsed.
Yeah, right.
That's one of my favorite things, man, is reviews. Because that's one of the great things about art is it's subjective, and what one person likes another person might not like. And
yeah,
man, sometimes you read reviews for albums that you love and you're like, oh,
what are they listening to? Yeah,
and then you'll read albums that you don't personally like that they talk up, and It's funny how that works.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you know. So if somebody wants to check out your music, your website, and let's do
Yeah.
some
It's
plugs.
docfellmusic.com. If you go there, you can find links to all our social media stuff, which we're on, Instagram, Facebook, all that kind of stuff. But docfellmusic.com. If you look us up on Spotify or Apple, just type DocFell, one word, and you got to connect the two, DocFell. But anyway, if you do that, you'll find us pretty easily, and appreciate you guys checking out some streams, man.
Nice, man. Yeah. Well, hey, I don't know if I'll ever get out to the Woody Guthrie Festival in Oklahoma, but if I do, I'm gonna look you up
Yes.
because
Do it, man.
I don't
Make
know
plans. You just got to make plans.
Yeah, well, I applied for it a couple years ago, and then last year
Yeah.
when the whole world fell apart, I didn't even think of it. But
Yeah.
do you ever come out to New England or anything? Or
I can't say that I have, but I need to probably take a trip out there. Sounds like
yeah,
not in the wintertime. Not in the
no,
wintertime.
not unless you like skiing and ice fishing and snowmobiling.
Yeah. I mean, those are good things too.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's beautiful here
Yeah.
in the winter. It's like a Hallmark movie with the blankets of white snow and all this stuff. But by the
Yeah.
time March rolls around, it's just everybody's just
You're over it.
yeah. And we're not out of it yet. I mean,
Yeah.
but they do say that next week sometime the temperatures are going to reach near 50. So that's like
Wow. All right.
that's like beach weather for us, except the lakes
Yeah.
are frozen.
Right. Yeah.
Well, yeah, man, come to New England sometime, and if you
All right.
do, we'll get you some shows up here and
Okay.
get you some Vermont maple syrup.
Damn. I'll do that.
Yeah, you guys don't have real maple syrup there.
No, it's imitation.
Yeah. I went to I spent a lot of time in Nashville when I was younger, and it's all imitation syrup there too.
Yeah.
Then I found this little bottle that's like the size of my mouse,
Yeah.
and it was like $14.
Golly.
I'm like,
Like we had to import this. You don't have, this is like gold, man.
liquid gold.
Yeah.
Is there anything that I missed that you wanted to touch on before we sign off? Or
No, I think we covered most of the bases. So
the next time you put an album out, you said you were working on one soon.
yeah.
So we'll get you back on the show right around when it comes out, and we'll give it another
Yeah.
extra push.
Actually, you got 6 scratch tracks down this week, so we're probably a couple months to half a year out from having anything official. But definitely, I got your email, so I will get hold of you next time whenever we're getting close to that, and I'd love to help. I'll reach out.
Yeah, I would love that. It would be great to catch up again.
Awesome.
Well, can we do a virtual cheers?
All right.
All right, man. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
You have a great day, Todd.
All right. DocFell of DocFell and Co. here on Coffee with Todd. It's good stuff. Yeah, check him out on Spotify or Amazon Music or however you stream your music, or go to docfellandco.com. If you're watching on Twitter, I tagged him on there. I need more coffee. Oh my, oh my. We'll do one more song and then it's breakfast time. Danielle's making waffles. Yes. We're going to have some real maple syrup. That's right. We're not going to have a little thing, imitation maple syrup. It's like the size of the coffee pot, the maple syrup. Thanks, Al. I appreciate seeing you all. Hey, I mentioned earlier, if you're just tuning in, we're now on Twitch. So we're live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. And man, we're growing. We're working on building. If you notice, the camera's a little bit sharper today. Pretty soon the music's going to be a little bit clearer. So, we're investing in Coffee with Todd. That's right. Like what you do with any business, you put money back into it. And yeah. And if you'd like to help me do that, every little bit helps. There's a couple links here where you can make some donations. Thank you to everybody that's already donated so far. Every little bit absolutely helps. You can also donate by clicking on the links and buying a CD. I'll send it to you. I'll sign it. It'll be worth ones of dollars when I do that, probably. You can get yourself one of these Coffee with Todd coffee mugs as well. And if you'd like a chance to win a Coffee with Todd coffee mug, if you share this video today, I'm going to take all the names of the people that shared it, and next Sunday, pick out of a hat one name, and that person will win a Coffee with Todd coffee mug mailed directly to them at no cost. We're sharing the love as we share coffee here on Coffee with Todd. Oh yeah, next week we have another guest, and we're not going across the country next week. We're just going up the road a little bit. We have Jacob Green. He's going to be joining us. He's a Northeast Kingdomer, and you've probably, if you live in the area that we do, you have probably seen him out and about. He's got a new album that is coming out. Jacob, I'll probably get this wrong. I think it comes out this week. I think it maybe come out tomorrow. I'm not sure. Anyway, he'll be joining us, so that's going to be fun. Cauliflower waffles? No, Paul. No. No, full of gluten these waffles are that we're going to have. Yeah, Marie, thank you. Yeah, it's growing. We're getting there. This show is also going to be turning into a podcast within the next week or two. So if you like to listen to podcasts, you'll be able to listen to the podcast on your way to work any day that you choose. Oh, can you get me a pick? I need a pick for this last song. Yeah, that one works. Yeah, let's use that one. What is he doing? We're just tuning. There we go. Beautiful. Beautiful. Hey, let's play some harmonica again. Shall we? Need to change clips. Different harmonica for this song. Man, I'm so looking forward to maybe going out for a walk today. We've got sunshine out here. What is that? Yeah, we're gonna need to buy a new harmonica holder. We'll see if this works. Yes, I'm a wizard. What?
You're a wizard?
Yes. Well, I might win, I might lose. Sometimes life is cruel, but you always sing the blues. It's me and my guitar. Love may come, love may go. Sometimes I take love slow, but you'll never be alone. Me and my guitar. Me and my guitar. We might not get too far, but we'll always be together. just me and my guitar. Yeah, me and my guitar. It might not get too far, but we'll always be together through thick and thin. So if a crowd gathers around, or if times get hard, music rings forever. We'll always be together, best friends forever, baby. Me and my guitar. I might win, I might lose. Sometimes life is cruel. You can always sing the blues though, with me and my guitar. And lazy days, crazy nights can't all be wrong. So come and y'all sing along with me and my guitar. And a cup of coffee on Sunday morning, and a bunch of guests, and Danielle on the couch. Me and my guitar, it might not get too far. We'll always be together, thick and thin. So if a crowd gathers around, or if times get hard, the music rings forever. We'll always be together, best friends forever, baby. Me and my guitar. Watch out for that microphone, Todd. It's in the way.
Oh, did you smack it?
I did. I smacked it. I showed it at Who Was Boss. All right. Well, there you go. Another Sunday morning in the books. I don't know what books. The history books?
Sure.
The Chronicles of Toddia?
Yes.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
Another Coffee with Todd in the books of the history. What did I just say? The
Chronicles of Toddia.
We don't know these things. We don't know these things.
Chronicles of Coffeeland.
Chronicles of Coffeeland. There you go. Thank you so much. Thank you, Linda. Nice to see you. Thank you, Marie. Paul, yes, coffee. All right, y'all. Thank you for sharing, Amanda. Your name will go in the hat. We'll pick it right bright and early next Sunday morning. The first thing we'll do, all the names of people that shared this video, we'll put in a hat. The one we pick out wins a Coffee with Todd coffee mug as a thank you for helping spread the love. And that's one of the best things that you can do to help support this show is tell a friend about it. Tell an enemy. Hell, I don't care who you tell, as long as you tell somebody. All right, y'all. We are going to have some breakfast now. Thank you so much for tuning in every Sunday. Thank you to our guest, DocFell from Oklahoma. It's been a fun morning. So be safe and be well, everybody. Spring is almost here, is just around the corner. Maybe 2 or 3 corners, but it's getting here. And we will see you next week, right here. Same time, same station. Huh?
Is the time change next Sunday?
Oh, God, you're right.
14th.
Yeah.
Think of this.
Oh, man, we're springing ahead.
Right, so better tell them to check their clocks first.
Well, that's right. Don't forget to set your clocks ahead.
Yeah, it says, the calendar says daylight savings.
Daylight savings time begins next week. So we're going to be springing ahead. So you could be late for the show? Is that how that works?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, if they...
Yeah, because if you tune in and it'd be 10 o'clock.
Right, you
Oh.
that, so just...
Well, there you go. Don't forget to set your clocks for Coffee with Todd next Sunday. Man.
Oh, these times are changing.
Come gather round, people, wherever you roam, and admit that the waters around you have grown. All right, y'all. I love you. Thank you so much for tuning in every week to Coffee with Todd. We will see you next time. Cheers, everybody.